Just like other Nazi concentration camps, Auschwitz was designed not just as a place of incarceration, but as a killing machine that worked relentlessly to exterminate as many human lives as possible. However, Auschwitz's atrocities did not only come from the organized system of slaughter implemented by the Nazi regime, but also from the individuals who worked at the camp. With each passing day, the death toll increased, and the suffering became unimaginable. SS guards often added their own personal element of brutality and sadism to the daily operations of the camp. Among the many guards known for their cruelty, one name stands out as a symbol of terror that transcended the boundaries of cruelty: Otto Moll, or as people called him, the Butcher of Birkenau. Otto Hermann Wilhelm Moll was an SS officer known for his prominent role in the mass extermination operations at the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp during the Holocaust in World War II. Holding the rank of SS Hauptscharführer, or section leader, Moll was responsible for carrying out the mass murder system, particularly in Birkenau, which was one of the largest extermination sites in human history. He is said to have personally killed hundreds of people, such as Hungarian Jews in 1944. From 1943, Moll served as the head of the crematorium or extermination zone in Birkenau. Otto Moll's presence in Birkenau went beyond his formal duties as a Nazi commander. He was even described as the most insane sadistic executioner in World War II, a man who became a terror to both Jews and SS members, and as one of the most sadistic and evil figures in Auschwitz's history. Otto Hermann Wilhelm Moll was born on March 4, 1915, in the town of Hohenschönberg, German Empire. His childhood took place during difficult times. The uncertainty of the front lines made this period very grim, as Germany was involved in World War I. Germany's defeat in the war also created a nationwide crisis. Food shortages and skyrocketing inflation greatly impacted the Moll family. Before joining the Schutzstaffel, Moll worked as an employee in a horticultural company. However, in 1935, Moll began his career in the SS. He was trained at the Oranienburg concentration camp, where he began to understand the brutal camp system. However, in the early stages of his career, Moll did not immediately take on an operational role at the camp. He joined the SS battalion orchestra, performing in the SS barracks or in public places. In January 1937, Moll's life underwent a major change. On his way home from a concert, the truck transporting the SS musicians was involved in a traffic accident. As a result of the accident, Moll lost sight in his right eye. The injury ended his dream of continuing a career in the SS military corps, as his physical limitations made him no longer eligible for active military duties. He then worked in the SS garden at the Sachsenhausen camp, far from the military activities he had been involved in until then. Losing sight in his right eye not only affected his career, but also impacted his mental and emotional condition. It is likely that after the accident, Moll experienced significant behavioral changes. In September 1939, at the start of World War II, Otto Moll married a young woman named Elli Unruh. However, the marriage was short-lived and did not produce any children. Elli Unruh died in 1940 from septicemia, or blood poisoning. The death of Elli Unruh appeared to worsen Moll's psychological condition. Witnesses noted that after this tragedy, his behavior became increasingly uncontrollable, displaying a level of sadism that was difficult to comprehend. In one of his sadistic acts, Moll was reported to have placed an elderly man, a prisoner, into a monkey cage at a zoo. The man was confined with the animals, which then caused severe injuries. 1 year after losing his first wife in February 1941, Otto Moll tried to start a new life by proposing to a woman named Dora Hansen. In the same year, he was transferred from the Sachsenhausen concentration camp to Auschwitz. Moll's initial task at Auschwitz was to dig mass graves for the growing number of victims of the ongoing massacres. However, in the spring of 1942, he was appointed as the head of the disciplinary company. From that point on, there were numerous reports of violence carried out by Moll against the prisoners. His extreme brutality led to rebellions by the prisoners. During his time at Auschwitz, Moll oversaw killings in Bunker 1 at Auschwitz, while the Birkenau camp was being constructed. As in other camps, especially Majdanek, the bodies were simply buried in mass graves. However, by the fall of 1942, this approach began to create serious problems. The shallow mass graves caused the decaying and swollen bodies to rise to the surface, contaminating the surrounding environment with a nauseating stench. Moll then solved this issue by developing an open-pit cremation system. His reputation among the SS ranks began to rise as he was seen to possess a quality in carrying out his horrific duties. In April 1943, Moll's achievements in managing executions and cremations at Auschwitz earned him the First-Class War Merit Cross with swords. Moll's career continued to soar as the scale of the massacres increased. In May 1944, he was called to Auschwitz-Birkenau to take a key role in what became one of the largest extermination operations in Holocaust history, the elimination of Hungarian Jews. A member of the Sonderkommando at Birkenau, who worked for Moll, even revealed that, on average, around 18,000 Hungarian people were killed every day at Birkenau. The transport of prisoners continued from dawn until dusk. Moll was even directly involved in the killings by throwing people alive into the cremation pits. This was especially done when the gas chambers were not in use or when the number of prisoners to be killed was not large enough to be considered efficient. After Auschwitz-Birkenau was abandoned by the SS forces on January 18, 1945, in an attempt to avoid liberation by the advancing Soviet troops, Otto Moll was transferred to a sub-camp of the Dachau concentration camp. When Moll arrived at the main Dachau camp on April 28, 1945, he brought with him a group of prisoners whom he forced to march in a death march. Initially, Moll planned to bomb the Dachau camp and kill the remaining prisoners inside. However, this plan failed to materialize, as the next day he was captured by American forces. In November 1945, Moll was tried by a U.S. military court during the Dachau trials. He was prosecuted for his actions at Dachau. Moll was subsequently sentenced to death after being found guilty of shooting dead prisoners who had fainted from exhaustion. He was eventually executed by hanging in Landsberg on May 28, 1946.